Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. It's Lex, and today we're going to be reviewing episode 1 of Last of Us. When I heard the series was first coming out, I was super excited, especially since I'm one of those guys who really enjoyed the video game back in the day. I really enjoyed part 1 and 2, so I was excited to hear that they were coming out with a series and HBO was picking it up. Also, loved hearing that Pedro Pascal was going to be Joe because he's an amazing actor. I've seen him in Game of Thrones. I've seen him, of course, in The Mandalorian. He's a really, really great actor. I really enjoy his work. So it was actually a treat to actually hear that he was going to be in this show and they were picking him up to be Joel. As far as casting for Ellie, I wasn't so sure about her. She didn't look the part, but overall, I was just gonna give her a chance. Might as well. She was actually pretty good in Game of Thrones, so I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt coming into the show. I was not gonna prejudge it because as long as they're telling the story pretty well, I'm gonna be okay with whoever they cast, to be honest with you. I'm glad to see that the creators are really using a lot of what the game brought to life here and they're using it in the show. It isn't a one-to-one copy paste type of show. It does have its own kind of flair to it, which I don't mind, and I'm really enjoying it. It's cool to see come to life the scenes that were in the video game. I thought the way they captured the atmosphere was really good. I could really see the game starting to come to life in this series, and that's what I was hoping for them to do, and not to change so much of the source material. They are adding a little sprinkle here and there, but overall it's okay and they're sticking to it. I thought the pacing of the episode was pretty good. I like how in the beginning no one was aware of what was actually going on and they were just going about their normal life, but by the end of the night the whole world kind of flipped upside down without any kind of knowledge of it going on or anyone being aware of what was actually happening. It was kind of interesting bringing that to light when back in those days when we didn't have that much access to the internet and people weren't really going on their phones for them to finally get the shockwave later down the road. They're trying to gather themselves and see what the hell is going on in the world right now. And that's when you really get to see Joe shine and just jump into action. He's not really much thinking about it. There's a scene where the grandma or some older ladies has been affected by the fungus, and finally the fungus took over her body, and as she's about to attack Joe's daughter, kind of a little bit hesitation, but overall his willingness to take care of his daughter and protect her overcame that, and he just completely killed the grandma. So you really get to see how much Joe jumps into action in the beginning, and see how he's a man of just doing and doesn't really think about it too much and just goes for it. And it kind of just shows and builds a little bit of his character. And we're going to start to see him kind of unravel himself through the series here. That was really cool to see that they brought that to life here. And Pedro Pascal was actually able to kind of convey that in the episode this time. In this episode, they start in 2003. And once the pandemic starts and everything hits and Joe loses his daughter to the soldier, they are jumping 20 years ahead. So a lot has changed. The whole world seems dilapidated. Every building has come down. The infection and the fungus has gone worldwide, and now they are living in the society that they have created and are trying to survive there. And that's where we pick up where Joe is working and trying to gain some currency that they have now, and also kind of selling some contraband on the side. I don't remember exactly if in the video game he was selling anything, so that caught me off by surprise that he's kind of a pill salesman, a drug dealer, and he was selling some drugs to an officer and kind of gaining some money that way on the side. So that was kind of interesting to see that he was doing that. I'm not sure. I haven't played the video game in a while, so I don't know if they mentioned that or not. So it was a little bit weird. I was like, wait a minute, he's selling pills. That's that was kind of funny actually. I was like, what the hell? Hey, but you got to do what you got to do, especially when the whole world has come down and having to survive and having to adapt any way you can is just what you got to do. So it is what it is at that point. Again, showing what type of character Joe is. Once again, he's adapting into his environment and just trying to survive, and kind of having that. There's a moment in the episode where Joe is in his house after work is done and everyone's gone. He's sitting alone and he takes some pills and then takes some more alcohol and just kind of drowns himself and tries to escape from his emotions and not feel anything and just pass out. And then you can really see that he's still, even after 20 years later, still dealing with the loss of his daughter. So again, showing the depth of him, and I really are enjoying what they're kind of doing here, and especially with this character. So I hope they do more of that throughout the series. And I did think that maybe he was a little more reserved this time. I think that he was a little more quieter this time than in the video game, where it's just action packed and shooting and doing whatever. Not this time. I think it's set more in the realism of it, so it's a little bit understandable. But I can see a little bit of separation within the video game and in the series happening there. I don't know if I don't mind it just yet. I think I need to watch a little bit more before I decide if it's something that I enjoyed or something that I kind of saw as a feeling too removed from Joe himself from the video game. So hopefully down the road we get to see exactly what that turns out to be. But for the first episode, it worked out fine. You could really see him, just trying to deal with that loss. Eventually, we get to Ellie, and she's been captured by the Fireflies, or being held for transport by the Fireflies. And this is the moment where I felt genuinely surprised about what happened here. My thoughts about the casting completely dissipated, man. Like, I really was so surprised. I think this has had to be one of my favorite moments of this episode, was the fact, the reveal of Ellie and the casting of Ellie and how she acted, that because she blew it out of the park. That is such an awesome work, and she was able to really encapsulate her like attitude, her arrogance, the way she responds, the afflictions of her voice. Like, I was genuinely surprised, and I think that had to be my favorite part, is just being like proven wrong. Like, hey man, like she is doing this. So that actor gotta give it to her. I thought Ellie was perfect. I really thought that she showed like exactly who she was, and when we meet her, that's exactly like what type of attitude she has in the game, and that's exactly the type of attitude. Unlike Joel, where he seems a little more reserved in the video game. Ellie's kind of like, you can really tell she's locked in. So that was a pleasant surprise, especially when she's counting down or counting up. She's like 1, 2, 3, and when she finally gets to the end, gives him a little snide remark, and I thought that was like cute and funny. It was really good. I really enjoyed her being Ellie, and I can't wait to see more in the episode. Overall, I think this show is gonna be a really great show, and it's gonna be service to the fans. And I really hope that they do. I'm excited for episode 2 coming this Sunday. I really hope that you guys go out of your way and go watch this series, because it's definitely going to be a good one. Even if you didn't play the video game, that's okay. You can really pick up yourself and you can watch the series for yourself and kind of have that story told in that way, which would be amazing. So hopefully you guys go check that out each Sunday when it comes out. Let me know what you guys think about the show. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing, because we're going to have another video once episode 2 comes out. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.